Hi, welcome back. My name is Anna, and welcome to my November reading wrap up, where I managed to read seven books. And so this is I read one 5 star. I think I read four star, and I read three three stars, which I think is a good reading man for me. As of recording this, I've only read 36 out of my 100 goal, and we have only like 30 days left in the month. So I don't know how I'm gonna manage to read. I think that will be 64 books, but if we get to like at least 50, then that's good. So I'm gonna start off with my 3 star books. So the first book we're gonna do is Assistant to the Villain by Nicole Maehrer. I might be saying this wrong. This is book one of The Assistant to the Villain, and this basically follows I really Evie and how she got a job working for the villain, and it is a 3 star. To be honest, I really don't remember what else happened. I think that something I honestly, and to think that I read this for a 24-hour reading challenge, I really don't remember much that happened in this book. And then I read A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I think this is book one in, I think, The Elements of Chaos. I think, yeah, this is book one of The Elements of Chaos. And the reason why I read this was because my favorite book of 2024, you can see right there, is by Rebecca Ross, and it is Divine Rebel. So I wanted to give other books of her a chance. Now this follows Jack, and he's a bard, and he returned home, and there are like two clans. There is the Tamerlane, and there is the Breckons. So they've been at war for like century, and we get to see why. And in this, they're the elements are in the form of spirit, and like you have the wind element, the water element, you have earth, and I think you have water. I think wind, water, earth, and I really don't remember the last one. But when Jack plays his harp, he can basically summon the spirit, and they take like a physical form. And there were some girls going missing, and we get to see why they're going missing. And there are like romance. This is also told from a third person point of view, and we get to see like other there as it's told from the third person point of view. There are other people who we get to see like their relationship and how they grow and all that. It was a 3 star because there was a something about the world that I think that I, in terms of the fantasy, I didn't really connect with the fantasy part of it, but I really enjoy reading it. As you can see, like I remember a lot, and when I remember a lot about a book, that's telling you something. So those are my 2 3 star. We're moving on to our 4 star books, and the first one we have is Season Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is book two of the Shadow and Bone Grishaverse trilogy. Now, this picks up right where book one left off, which I really love. This is Elena and Miles running away from the Darkling, and we get to see her rise to power. And I did this for a 24-hour reading challenge, which I did go in more in depth as to what I liked about this. And I think the movie should have stick to the original, to the source, to the original material, because in this we get to see Elena just her harnessing her power and her she wasn't brought up as a Grisha, so she didn't know anything about this world until like a few weeks ago. And we get to see her owning that, which I really love. And I think the TV show did not do that. So I really, really loved, as someone who watched a TV show before reading the book, I really, really loved that aspect of the book. So it was a 4 star for me. So we're moving right along. We have City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. This is book one of the Immortal Instruments. One of the reasons why I wanted to read this is I started watching Shadowhunters again, because I've watched that so many times, but I have a lot of stuff crocheting. So whenever I'm crocheting, I like to watch something that I really like. So I started reading this book, and I loved how, like, I did not like Clary. I have to say that I did not like her. I didn't like her in the TV show. I thought that it was probably the actress in the TV show. She was a little bit unbearable sometimes. Come to find out, I did not like her in the book. But Magnus Bane, Magnus Bane, like, they should have stick to him, because he is I love Douglas Feeney. We didn't get to see much of him in the book, which I really hated. But the little portion that I got to see, I really, really love that. It just follows Clary and how she discovers that she has the gift of sight and how she finds out that she is a shadow hunter. That's when her mom goes missing and her trying to find her mom and her being thrust into this world. And then there's Jace, who she has a romantic relationship with. There's also Simon, her best friend, who happens to be in love with her, but she doesn't know. And then we meet, there's also Malik and Izzy, who are also very unbearable, but I kind of like them. So that was that. Then I think last, the, the second to last 4-star I have was Dance of Thieves by Maehrer E. Pearson. This is book one of the Dance of Thief duology, and this follows Jace and Kazi. So Kazi is on a mission to basically, she's going to this other to Tours Watch to basically look for someone, and it follows also Jace, who was suddenly thrust into power. He is the Padre, meaning he's the leader of his clan. We get to see how Jace and Kazi connects and how they meet, which I think was really, I loved how they met. And normally sometimes I don't like YA sometimes, but I really love this, and I love the little world. They're like a little Easter eggs all over the book, so you have to pick up on that. There were some things that I found was very confusing, and I didn't really connect with, hence the reason why it's a 4-star. But it is a YA fantasy, but with romance. But I think that to me, it's more focused on the romance part than the fantasy part. So I love that. Then I'm gonna insert a picture right here of the other book I read, which is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. Now, when I'm looking for like a good mystery thriller suspense, I like to read her books. So this just follows, like, I really don't remember anybody's name, but this follows the lives of 3 women and how we find out at the end how they're all connected. And I really loved, like, this was a book that I read like throughout November, so I didn't like, I was reading it in pieces, but I really loved it because I was I all the every time I read it, I was really at the edge of my seat, which I think was really, I love a good mystery book. I'm not really big on mysteries anymore, but I really do love a good mystery book. And the only 5-star book I read this year, which I have ordered a copy of, is The Women of Chateau Lafayette. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos prior to this, you know I I don't like historical fiction. I think they're too based on reality, so I normally don't like historical fiction. But this follows 3 women, and I have a confession to make. I only pick, like, I'm a person. I will pick up a book based on its cover. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I will pick up a book based on its cover. I also pick up a book based on the words. I love the words Chateau and Lafayette, so the only reason I picked this book up was because of the word Chateau Lafayette. I was like, I have to have that book. And it's a YA historical fiction, and I wouldn't say completely YA. A lot of, I would say it has like, it follows kids like at one part of the book, but they're also adults, but a lot of kids. So it's YA to me. And it follows 3 women. There is Adrienne, there is Beatrice, and there is Marthe. And these are women from different generations. If I'm not mistaken, Adrienne is from 1792 or something, and then Beatrice is from 1914, and then Marthe is from 1940. And we'll check to see how correct I am. Well, it was 1774, but I was correct about everything else. Adrienne is from 1774, and we get to see how, so there is a war going on throughout all these 3 periods, and throughout the book, all of these 3 women were at the Chateau Lafayette, which is named after Adrienne's, which was a family owned by Adrienne's husband, which is Gilbert de Mater. I'm bad with French, but when I had this, I had the audiobook, so I was listening to it, and I love French names. So in English, we would say Henry, but in French, it would be Henri. And I will say Gilbert, but in French, it's Gibert. I really love that. So we get to see how these women rose and they owned their power, and how it was wartime, and we get to see it's not talked about a lot how women contribute to the war, because they do. So I really love a good book about women empowerment, and this was it. So these are all the books I read in these are just all the book I read in November. Let me know what books you've read in November, and how many books did you read. Now we're at the end of another reading wrap up, and I just want to say have a wonderful year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.